I'm Megan and welcome to my kitchen. In today's What's for Dinner video, I'll be sharing with you what meals we had this past week. Our dinners were easy to make, budget-friendly, and delicious. So if you're looking for some weeknight meal ideas for your family, just keep watching. Today's video is also a collab with Mel over in the kitchen with Mom and Mel. I will have a link to her video in my description box below, so as soon as you're done watching my video, make sure you head on over to her channel, show her some love, let her know that I sent you. I absolutely love watching Mel's videos. She is super sweet, she's funny, and everything she makes, no lie, everything she makes looks so incredibly delicious. So I know you will love her content. Go check her out. For dinner this first night, I made salmon patties. I mentioned in my last grocery haul that I'm trying really hard to cook from my freezers and pantry as much as possible. I need to get things rotated out, and I had a can of salmon in my pantry that needed to be used up. So I keep my salmon patties pretty simple. I make them the same way that my granny did. You can, of course, add whatever you'd like. Here's what I'm going to use to make mine. First up, I have some self-rising cornmeal, self-rising flour, an egg, and then my can of salmon. Now you could also make this using mackerel if you'd prefer. For the seasonings, from what I remember, Granny just used salt and pepper. I like to add some Tony Chachere's and just a little bit of mayonnaise. So in this bowl here, I've got the canned salmon. What I do is drain off the liquid. I would suggest reserving that in case you add a little too much flour. You can add some of that liquid back in. And then I like to remove the large bones. The small little pin bones, they'll break up, and so you can just leave those in. I mean, you can take them out too if you prefer. And then I leave the skin in. You can remove that if you'd like. And then I just flake up the salmon really well. In this bowl here, I've added the salmon. Now, for 1 can of salmon, I do 1 egg, a 1/4 cup of flour. I use the self-rising or all-purpose, sometimes just whatever I grab. And then I do a 1/4 cup of self-rising cornmeal. I season to taste with the Tony Chachere's and then add in a tablespoon or 2 of the mayonnaise. Mix it until it's combined really well. You just want it to be moist enough to where the patties will hold together without them falling apart. In this skillet, I've got a little bit of oil over medium heat. I cooked them for about 4 or 5 minutes per side. You could also deep fry these, bake them in the oven, cook them in the air fryer, whatever your preference is. Once they are golden brown like this, I like to drain them on a paper towel lined plate. To go along with the salmon patties, I had a few russet potatoes I needed to use up. So I washed them really well, peeled them, chopped them up, cooked them until they were nice and tender in some salted water, drained them really well, and then mashed them. Well, actually, this time I used a hand mixer and whipped them up with some butter, milk, salt, and pepper. And then for the other side, I just did some quick peas, just took a can of peas, drained off the liquid, cooked them over about medium heat with a tiny little pat of butter, salt, and pepper until they were warm. Here is a picture of my plate. My husband Gary ate later in the evening, so I've got some of the salmon patties, the mashed potatoes, and peas. I just like to eat my salmon patties with ketchup. Some people like tartar sauce, but they are so yummy, so simple, but delicious. And like I said, you can add whatever seasonings to the salmon patties. I know some people like to add onion. You could add bell pepper, whatever you like. Again, I just keep mine simple. Sometimes simple is best. It's just so good. For dinner the next night, I decided to do breakfast for dinner. I had a package of thick-cut maple bacon, and I apologize. I forgot to get a picture of the package before I threw it in the trash. But I bought this at an Amish market like a month or so ago, and it really needed to be used up. So I just laid it out on a sheet pan, and I popped it into a 400-degree oven and cooked it for about 15 to 20 minutes. Just depends on how thick your bacon is and how crispy or soft you like it. To go along with that, I had this Trader Joe's pumpkin pancake mix that I really needed to use up. So I just whipped up the pancakes according to the package instructions and cooked them in a little bit of butter on my little griddle skillet. And here are what the pancakes look like when they were done. Here is a picture of my plate. So I've got a couple of the pancakes, a little bit of butter, maple syrup, the bacon, and some fresh fruit. And this was so yummy. And Gary ate after he got home, and he enjoyed the dinner as well. And in case you're new to my channel, a few nights during the week, my husband goes to the gym and does like a martial arts class. So there are a few nights during the week where he eats later in the evening than I do. For dinner the next night, I did not feel like cooking at all. I had a horrible sinus headache. I love springtime. I love it. But the pollen and everything blooming here in the South does not love me and my allergies and sinuses. So Gary asked, he was like, hey, you want me to grab something on my way home? And I was like, yes, Arby's sounded good. So he stopped and got us Arby's. I totally did not even think about filming or, getting pictures of what we ate. Again, my head was just so full and swimming. But I got just their regular roast beef sandwich with some curly fries, a cup of cheddar, and he got the large roast beef and cheddar with curly fries and a cup of cheddar, and that was our dinner this night. For dinner the next night, I tried a new recipe for a maple glazed salmon and veggie sheet pan dinner. I'll be showing you how I made this in an upcoming sheet pan dinner video, so keep an eye out for that. This was such a quick and easy dinner to put together. It was like maybe 20 minutes start to finish. It was so quick and easy, and it was yummy. So like I said, keep an eye out for that video if you'd like to see how I made this. Dinner the next night was off a meal plan a little bit. I planned on making a Filipino-style barbecue chicken because I had some chicken thighs in my freezer that I needed to use up. But I'd gotten busy this day and didn't get around to marinating the chicken or making the rice in advance to do the fried rice. So I was looking on Pinterest at other things that I could do with the chicken thighs because I already had them thawed and needed to use them. And I came across a recipe for a Monterrey chicken sandwich. So I'll have the recipe I took inspiration from linked in the description box below. I'm going to start out by making the loaded baked potato salad though. So I had this bag of baby potatoes. I'd gotten these on Kroger on sale. They were like $1 or something a bag last week, and I didn't have a need for them, but I went ahead and got it because it was a good sale, and so that came in handy this night. Could do a quick side. All I'm going to do is wash them, cut them up, boil them in some salted water until they're tender, and then drain them. And I'll also have the recipe that I use for the loaded baked potato salad linked in the description box below. I've made this so many times over the years that I just eyeball everything, but if you need like specific measurements, that'll be down below. So in this bowl, I'm going to add in some mayonnaise. Next, I'm going to add in some sour cream, and I've made this several times before where I add Greek yogurt. It turns out just fine. Now, I like to add a little bit of ranch dressing. If I don't have ranch dressing on hand, I will use just a little bit of dry ranch dressing mix. I'm going to season this with a little bit of salt and pepper and then mix it until it's really well combined. Next, I'm going to add in some shredded cheddar cheese, then some chopped green onions. Next, I'm going to add in some cooked bacon. I just baked this in the oven, let it drain on some paper towels. I'm going to give it a rough chop, and you could use like the bacon pieces that you can buy at the grocery store. That's fine as well. I'm going to mix that until it's combined really well, and then I'm going to add in my cooked and drained potatoes. I am going to give that a mix and then give it a taste, adjust the seasonings to taste. You could eat this right away, but I like to refrigerate it for at least an hour before I serve it just to let all the flavors come together. To garnish it, I add a little extra shredded cheese, the crumbled bacon, and the green onions. I've got my oven set to 400 degrees. On this baking sheet, I lined it with foil, sprayed it with some cooking spray. I've already seasoned the first side of the thighs, so I'm going to season the other side just like I did the first. So I'm going to add a little bit of salt and pepper, and here I'm taking the fork and just kind of pressing out the thighs so it's, kind of more of a even layer. I decided to use this brown sugar garlic seasoning from Kinder's as well as the barbecue blend seasoning. You can season the chicken however you like. Once it's seasoned to my liking, I'm going to pop these into the oven, and I baked these for about 20 minutes. You just want to cook them until they're at least 165 degrees internal temperature. Here's what I'm going to use to finish up the sandwiches. I have some leftover hamburger buns, lettuce, tomato, some sliced cheddar cheese. You could use whatever cheese you've got on hand or what you prefer. barbecue sauce, some cooked bacon, and then I set out the mayonnaise, but I decided later to do honey mustard instead of the mayonnaise, but either one would be fine. Once the chicken was done, I'm going to add some of the barbecue sauce and brush it on both sides. And I forgot to mention this, but of course you do not have to use chicken thighs. If you've got chicken breasts on hand or you prefer chicken breasts, absolutely use those. I would just make sure that you use a thin chicken breast, whether you buy the cutlets or whether you cut them into cutlets, pound them out yourself. Yeah, you just want to make sure that they're easy to eat on a sandwich. So I've brushed the barbecue sauce on. I'm going to add the bacon that has already been cooked, and I'm just tearing it into smaller pieces. One, so it fits better on the chicken. Two, so it eats a little better. I'm going to add a little bit of the cheese, and then I'm going to pop this back into the oven for just maybe 3 or 4 minutes to allow that cheese to melt. Here is what the chicken looked like when it was out of the oven. Now, at this point, you could just stop and serve this with like some diced tomatoes to make like the Chili's version of the Monterrey chicken. But like I said, we're going to do sandwiches. So I added the chicken to the hamburger buns, added some of the lettuce, tomato, and honey mustard. And then we've got the loaded baked potato salad, and I just cut up some apples to go on the side. And this was such a yummy dinner. Those sandwiches were delicious, had so much flavor, and I love that baked potato salad. It's so yummy. For dinner the next night, I tried another new recipe. This is the sheet pan lasagna from Giada De Laurentiis. I absolutely enjoyed this. This was delicious. It was so good. My husband is not a huge lasagna fan, but he absolutely loved this as well. I'll be showing how I made this in that same sheet pan dinner that I mentioned with the maple glazed salmon, so keep an eye out for that video. To go along with the lasagna, I had a box of these breadsticks. These are really similar to the Olive Garden breadsticks. They don't taste exactly like them, of course, but if you're craving Olive Garden breadsticks, these are a nice, kind of substitution for that. So I just baked them in the oven according to the package instructions and brushed them with a little bit of butter. And here are the plates. We've got the lasagna, the breadstick, and I did some side salads. And like I said, this was delicious. I highly recommend you give this recipe a try. For the last dinner in this week's video, I decided to do Copycat McDonald's honey mustard snack wraps. I had some frozen chicken tenders in my freezer that I needed to use up, as well as some homemade honey mustard in my fridge that needed to be used up. So here's what I'm going to use to make them. I've got the chicken strips I mentioned. You could fry up your own chicken strips. You could do grilled chicken, use leftover rotisserie chicken. Here is that homemade honey mustard. I've shared this many times before on my channel. It's super easy, just mayonnaise, mustard, honey. And then I've got some lettuce, some grape tomatoes I'm going to chop up, some shredded cheese, and then tortillas. Use your favorite tortillas or whatever kind of wrap you prefer. You can bake the chicken strips, fry them. I'm going to cook them in the air fryer. I did 400 degrees for about 7 or 8 minutes, gave them a flip, cooked them for another 7 or 8 minutes. And I apologize, it is gorgeous today, so I've got the windows open. I apologize if you can hear birds or my wind chimes going. So to assemble these, super easy. All I'm going to do is warm up the tortilla for about 20 seconds in the microwave. Next, I'm going to spread out some of that honey mustard. You could also do ranch or buffalo or barbecue sauce here. I'm then going to lay down a bed of lettuce, then the chopped up tomatoes. Next, I'm going to add the chicken. Next, I'm going to add the cheese. I'm using shredded cheddar. That's what I have on hand. I believe McDonald's did like a blend of 2 different cheeses, but it doesn't really matter. Just use whatever you like or what you've got on hand. Next, I'm going to drizzle on just a little bit more of that honey mustard, and then that's it. I'm just going to fold this up, and this is ready to go. To go on the side of my wrap, we had some of the loaded baked potato salad I made a couple nights before left over. So just serve the wraps with the potato salad. Quick and easy and delicious dinner. And that's it for this week's video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you liked this video, got some dinner ideas from it. If you did, hit the thumbs up button below and subscribe to my channel if you're not already. And don't forget to go check out Mel's video. Thanks so much for watching. Have a great rest of the day. Bye-bye.